In this video, we will look at how to set up CloverDX connection with Xero. Xero is cloud-based accounting software product that lets small business owners manage their finances from anywhere and integrate with more than 1,000 apps. Let's try to create a connection for one of them with CloverDX library. The first step is set up app on Xero side. Here we are in Xero Developer Console, where we need to create new app up here. Fill the name of the application. So, as an example, CloverDX connection. Then choose the first option, web app. Company and application URL, which we can use your site, or in our case, cloverdx.com. The important part is then the redirect URL, which should be the address of your CloverDX server plus OAuth 2. Then check that you agreed with the condition, create app. And inside of the apps, you have all details here. The important part for us is the configuration, where you need to generate new secret. And with the client ID and client secret, we can proceed and set up the connection on CloverDX side. Before we can set up CloverDX library, we need to start first with the OAuth connection in CloverDX Designer. Here in the Designer, we need to have CloverDX server project, inside of them some graph, to be able to create the connections. So, connection, there is create OAuth connection. We need to say where we want to store it. Usually we are using con folder for that. So next, the name of our connection, we can name it the same way as on the Xero side or anything what we want. Then we need to fill the credentials which we get from the Xero in the previous step. So client ID, client secret. The important part is about the scope, so we will get the read access to everything what is needed for the library. All of these scopes and other links you will be able to find under the video. So don't worry, you don't need to rewrite them manually. So that's the basic. Then in the advanced, we need to fill a couple of the URLs which are used for the Xero. So the authorization endpoint, the endpoint for the token, and then the redirect URL, which has to be the same as on the Xero side. And that should be it. 3 URLs, client ID, client secret, scopes, and then authorize. It will redirect us to the external web browser, where we will do the authentication. Once you will fill your credentials, you need to confirm the scopes. Here you can choose the company in case that you have multiple of them, and allow the access. You will get this successful window, and here we are, connection is authorized. Following part is on CloverDX server, where we are in the libraries tab. Here we will choose install library from the repository, find the CloverDX marketplace, or if you have your Xero library on another marketplace, you can just choose it. Inside of the marketplace, find the Xero library, check it, and say install it. If you want to observe the documentation, just select it, and here you can navigate through it before the installation. Install. Here we have installed our Clover library for the working with the Xero. Documentation is the first tab with all of the descriptions. The second tab is with the short overview of what we can use out of the library. And the important part for us is the configuration tab, where we have 3 properties and 1 library initiation configuration graph. First thing first, we need to set up the link URL to the OAuth, which we prepared in the previous step. So rewrite the default location with the new one, and it's sandbox // name of the sandbox and path inside of it to the connection which we just created in the Designer. Save changes. The next part is Xero tenant ID. That's the tenant of your company, but we can just run the graph for the initiation and it should finish the setup of it for us. Date format is choose from the list of the formats which can be provided, for example, for the create date for the invoice and stuff like this. And that should be it for us here. Let's look at how we can use the library now. Here we are back in the CloverDX designer. So now let's open the connection graph to refresh the palette, inside of which we should be able now to see the Xero library. So just let's try to use something, for example, get invoices, just drag and drop. The same thing, I can find them in the shift space at component dialog right now. And let's try to run it because we already finished the setup. Success. Run it. And here is 87 invoices from our demo company. For all informations about each of these separated connectors with informations about what data do they provide, please just look at the documentation in the server console.